Sorry, guys. Moses got very angry that was upset that he had killed the Egyptian. Moses was in big trouble. He fled Egypt and ended up living in a desert village called Midian. Many years later, Moses was an old man. He took care of the sheep near the mountain named Horeb. It says that while he was there, guys, how many of y'all seen fire? Does a fire get hot? Fire gets hot. It hurts you when you touch it. Well, you see these little trees up here? Something happened when Moses was on this mountain. How many of you all have taken your shoes off before? I have. Well, something special happened while Moses was up on this mountain. That bush started burning, but when Moses went over, the bush wasn't engulfed on it. It wasn't burnt. When you burn something, does it become ash? Well, when Moses did this, he walked over, it wasn't burned up at all. The flames were there. But God had told Moses to take his shoes off because he was on holy ground. So the next thing, it says Moses was so surprised because God had asked him to do something. Moses heard a voice from the burning bush, and it says, "Moses, Moses." He says, "Yes, God." He says, "I am right here." So Moses stood, and he wondered. He says, "I am the God of your father. I have seen the misery of my people in Egypt, and I have come down to rescue them." So while Moses was up there, Moses was stunned. He stammered. How many of you all stutter when the teacher calls you up front and asks you to give a speech or tell us what your name is? How many of you all get shy and think you can't speak in front of people? A lot of us do. Well, Moses had that problem. Well, Moses needed help. So God has told him that he would give him somebody to help him. Because Moses had problems speaking in front of people, but he needed somebody to give him strength. And God gives us strength when we're weak. So today I think is ultimate power. So what we're going to find out today, it says that something amazing, but it says that Moses was still sure he was the right man, or God would not have asked him to do it. Sometimes we don't want to do something even though God asks us to do it because we're scared. Sometimes we've got to step out on faith because God has an ultimate plan. Because yesterday, so today is ultimate power. So we're going to find out. It says he was worried and he kept whining. How many of you all whine? Not me. Listen to me. Do you all whine because you're tired and you don't want to go to church? Y'all whine because you want to watch cartoons? Mom says it's bedtime? Well, that's what Moses was doing here. He says, "I can't do it." He was whining. So you know what happens? People must believe, and they need to listen to what God has for them, what God says, because God has a plan for all of us. So what we're going to do is there's a special word I want you all to listen to, because Moses is going to find his friend Aaron. Yeah. Say it with me. Yeah, right. Say it with me. You got to say it with an attitude because Moses and Aaron are here, and they're going to come and tell you what else happened. So I want you to look at Aaron and see where you fall in here in this skit. Are you a Moses or are you an Aaron? Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
Moses.
Aaron, is that you?
No, it's your twin brother.
You don't have a twin brother. I'm the only brother you've got.
It was a joke.
I've seen God, and I talked with him.
You saw God. Are you still alive to tell it?
Well, what I saw was a burning bush.
Think God is a burning bush?
God isn't a burning bush, Aaron. This is the way he got my attention.
Oh, does burning bush talk?
Yes, and God told me
How do you know?
it wasn't really a burning bush. It was God.
And you believe the burning bush? Right.
Well, because me to lead them out of Egypt.
Like what?
Well, he showed me 3 great ways to show the Pharaoh that of his power. Like his stick. Watch, I'm going to turn him into a snake.
A snake?
Right. Yes, a snake. But I'm not worried about the snake biting me because when I pick it up by the tail, it'll turn back into a rod again.
You'd be a fool to pick up a snake by the tail. You'd get bitten.
The second thing was, I could put my hand in my cloak and it comes out leprous. And I've got it covered with this mitt where you can see my ugly boils.
You get leprosy? That's a horrible disease. No one would want to be around you.
But look, when I put it back in, it turns out to be healthy again.
Well, I guess that would be pretty impressive.
The next thing is I'm to go to the Nile and get a jug and bring up the water and pour it on the ground, and it's going to turn to blood.
Blood?
Don't you see? It'll show the Egyptians that the Nile god is a fake and their God is real. Then next, I lead the people out of Egypt.
Think it will take more than a few miracles to get Pharaoh to give up all of his slaves. But what happens next?
Well, then I lead the people out of Egypt.
You a leader? Right. You've been hiding in the desert for 40 years.
I know I tried to joke out I wasn't much of a leader, but he insisted.
So you argue with God and live. Right.
I just pointed out that I wasn't much of a speaker.
You got that right. You meet a stranger and you get so nervous you forget your name.
And I also pointed out to him that I'm sort of a nobody. Who would listen to me?
Right again. You got insecure written all over you. Not much in the way of leadership material.
Well, God come up with a way that I can speak to Pharaoh.
So what's the plan?
You do the talking for me.
Me?
Right.
Moses was more than nervous about doing the job that God had asked him to do. He was downright scared. But God showed Moses his powers so that Moses would trust him. Since God promised Moses he would be there and help him every step of the way. This story of Moses points to us another ultimate point of ultimate power. You see, there will be times when we're scared. And being scared, that there's nothing wrong with that. But that's when we learn to trust God, because God wants us to do that. But just as God promised Moses with the power to speak with Pharaoh and lead the Israelites, God has also promised Jesus' ultimate power for us through Jesus dying on the cross.